Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm going to make a slightly different video. I'm talking about some of my preferences for some pens. This may sound a little bit confusing, but I will explain it now. So, do you ever wish that one of your favorite brands to produce fountain pens following your own thoughts? I thought about it for Kaweco, and I will show you in this video what I thought Kaweco could do, and it would be an interesting thing. So, I'm starting with the metal Kaweco Sports, and let's take a look at my ideas. So, one kind of Kaweco Sport that I use a lot is this, the Kaweco AL Sport Stonewashed Blue. I like this pen, I have it with me every day, and I guess the time when I used it less was during the confinement days because of the coronavirus. Just because I don't go out often, so I don't have my pens with me. So this is one of the pens that I use the most, and I really like the looks and how robust it is, and because it is already used, let's call it like that, it is used from factory. It comes with these edges already scratched and tumbled. I think it's a great everyday carry pen. Kaweco also makes that in black. And I know that the idea behind these was to emulate what happens with the jeans and the colors that are stone washed. But I thought there would be another color that would be great. And just let me show you my idea. Currently there are only these two, but there are lots of EDC stuff around there. Lots of people crazy for this kind of stuff, like Swiss Army knives and so on. And this is a Victorinox Farmer from some years ago with the red Alox finish, so it gets wear off on these places. As you see, this is very well aged, and because Kaweco already makes the Kaweco AL Sport Deep Red, why can't we imagine a pen finish that would match this knife and also this line? This would be a path I would choose, and let me show you. Let's go and put some other stuff here. That's why sometimes the videos don't work and I don't get to post them on time, because these not always works. Imagine a Kaweco AL Sport like this. I made this up in Photoshop some years ago, and I even sent it to Kaweco just as a suggestion, but I don't think it is or it was on their plans. And see how it would look against the regular red AL Sport. We could have a AL Sport stone-washed red fountain pen. So first idea was this one for the metallic Kaweco Sport range. Now let's keep in the metal Kaweco Sport. I have here 3 of the 4 metal Kaweco Sports, the 4 metal types of Kaweco Sports available. And I have here the raw aluminum, which is this one very shiny that gets all scratched and used. So aluminum, we have the brass Sport, and we have the steel Sport. And when we look at these 3, I think we remember that there is another one very, very expensive. Unfortunately, I cannot have it because I cannot afford it. I feel a little bit sad because I would really like to have a very complete collection of Kaweco Sport, but no way I can pay that. We are missing here the Kaweco Sterling Sport, which is a Kaweco Sport entirely made of silver. And I think there is another material that is missing, and this is my trying to do the rendition of it. It would be a Kaweco Copper Sport. I think all we would love to have it. It would look like this, very shiny when it would arrive, and then it would oxidize like the brass Sport. I think it would be a great thing to have. We already have the Kaweco Lilliput in copper and in brass, so if we have the Kaweco Sport in brass, we are missing the copper version. That's just my idea. And if we, and I don't have an image for that suggestion, if we already have the, if we can have a copper Sport, why couldn't we have a titanium Sport? I think it would be great. And there are some people that are really crazy about titanium and how it feels and all that. So, already 3 ideas for Kaweco. And I would like you, when you see it, I think this video may not be for every one of my subscribers, but maybe for Kaweco people that are crazy about Kaweco, maybe they can give me some ideas or just help us telling us which will be the most interesting variations for a Kaweco Sport. Or what you think of my ideas. Are they stupid or they make sense? Would you buy some pens like these or wouldn't you? And now, let's move on. I talked about the metal Kaweco Sports, but now we'll go to the plastic. About plastic Kaweco Sports, I don't really think there is much to do there, because Kaweco already has a very good range of plastic pens, and they are always releasing 1 or 2 new colors for their already existing ranges, or they may release some special edition with some brands. So I don't think there's a lot of suggestions, but there is one. We have here the most recent line on the Kaweco Sport, which is the Kaweco Frosted Sport. Very nice colors, all named after fruits. And we have blue, pink, yellow, white, green, and orangey. Which color is missing? In my opinion, this one. We should have a purple Kaweco Frosted Sport. And we could call it, who knows, this is sweet banana. So maybe this could be ripe plum, for example. It's just a matter of imagination. This is a color I think is missing on their lineup. Why there is not a purple pen? And there are lots of people crazy about purple. So, Kaweco, please think about it. And I think it's not that hard to do. And it would be really, really nice. And the next pen, my Photoshop skills are very, very limited, as you may be seeing in these photos, in these images that I created. But there is something that I thought about, and I cannot reproduce with photos, is about the Kaweco Lilliput. Kaweco Lilliput is a very nice little pen, and I would ask you, how many of you already noticed that this cap seal is perfect? The pen, you can leave the pen for 6 months, at least this is my experience with it, unused, and it will not dry out. So imagine this kind of seal in an inexpensive, yet more fragile, yes, but an inexpensive, much cheaper, maybe the same kind of cost of a Kaweco Sport, plastic Lilliput. The advantages, it would be more colorful. You could have a wide range, or maybe not that wide. It depends on what Kaweco would think about it. Maybe they would prefer just to have 3 or 4 colors. Doesn't matter. But you could have more colors, even a full transparent one. It would be so nice to have. They would be small, interesting to carry, reliable, and they could be eyedroppered. I don't like to eyedropper pens, but people do. Something people love about Kaweco Sports, imagine one like this. This is the coconut. I don't remember the adjective for the coconut. It is not transparent, but it is translucent enough. You can see the cartridge inside. You can see perfectly on transparent. So, see, you can see the nib there. So it is translucent enough, and people love to eyedropper Kaweco pens. I know they were not meant to be eyedroppered when they created this pen, but some people love to do it. I don't, but many people do. Many people buy Kaweco Sports as their first eyedropperable fountain pen. Why couldn't we have inexpensive Kaweco Lilliput eyedropper fountain pens? I think that would be great. And this is more than any other ideas that I'm going to throw out today. I think this one is the most likely to be used by some Chinese manufacturer to make a clone of this pen, but made of plastic and colorful. So Kaweco, think about it. And now we will move on. This is just the Kaweco Sport, the Lilliput, and there is another pen. Now we move into some discontinued territory. There is a discontinued Kaweco Sport that I love. I do really love. It is very classy, very well made, very, very beautiful, elegant. I really like it. And so my idea is based on that. And I'm talking about the Kaweco Sport Lux. It is a pen that is made of resin, so it's heavier than the regular Kaweco Sport, is more comparable to a Kaweco Art Sport, but while the Kaweco Art Sport have very wavy and marbled materials, this one is solid black with a fixed clip. This is not removable, which is interesting. It was also available as rollerball, I think, I'm not sure, but as ballpoint and mechanical pens. It has a ring there on the barrel. It's not a blind cap, it's just a thing, a design thing. It's just the same step as you see here, but with the ring that gives an accent. And then you have this pen. It is quite heavy because it has a metal part there to give it some weight. It is a very beautiful pen. It really looks like a luxury, it's called Lux, Kaweco Sport. My idea about this is, first I would re-release this pen. And why? Because it looks great, and because it's so nice that I find it to match. Okay, one has gold trim and the other has chrome trim, but I think it matches the same kind of style as the Dia 2, but the Dia 2 is bigger, is a different pen. This is on the sport range, this is another higher class range. So I would think these two pens would match perfectly together in the same collection. So first thing I would do to re-release this pen. I think it's not impossible. They should have everything, the tools and all the plans to do it again. And if they do it, it would be fun that they would release this color, and maybe every 2 years they would release another color. Imagine this pen in blue, for example. I don't think you can see well the colors that I made, because to capture a screen with a camera it's not an easy or a smart thing to do. But imagine this is green, this is a red version, and they could have this pen not like a regular line, yes, but they could release the black. They would manufacture it regularly. It wouldn't be limited in number of units, but after 2 years of being out there, the black, they would change the color and they would start the red, for example, and it would be around for 2 years again, and then to another color, and I would go for only solid colors on this one. I would leave the marblings and all the other special effects for the Kaweco Art Sport, and would leave these into plain, bright or not bright colors. But this is something that I did not try to do on Photoshop, but imagine this pen in bright yellow. It would be so nice. So this is an idea. And if you are speaking about this, why couldn't we do exactly the same thing with the Kaweco Dia 2? I told you, they look the same kind of quality, the same kind of finish. If we have these Kaweco looks, sport or sport looks, we could have the Kaweco Dia 2 made of the same color. So 1 year we would have the red looks and the red Dia 2. I think it would be a great thing. But now that we moved on to the Dia 2 line, there is a final suggestion that I will make, which is about the Dia 2. Dia is a pen. It is nice, it has a nice size, but has a very small nib. Many people talk about it. This is a small nib, a number 5 nib, and this pen of this size has the same size nib as the Kaweco Sport, for example, or even the same size as the Lilliput. So for the Lilliput, number 5 looks really great because it's a very small pen. But does it make sense to have such a small nib in this pen? Some people think it doesn't. Some people like this size and the possibility of exchanging the nibs with the other pens they have. So I would not end the Dia 2 as it is with this size, but I would get inspired by another brand, and I don't feel this is like a copy, it's just an inspiration, because these pens are already similar. Why couldn't Kaweco inspire from Parker? I have here 2 discontinued Parker do-fold pens, and we have one centennial size and the international size and the centennial size. The international size is smaller, and it is of the same size, maybe with 1 or 2 millimeters variation, of the Kaweco Dia. And the centennial is just a little bigger. It's not that bigger, but the biggest difference is when we uncap all the 3 pens. We'll see that the Parker International has a nib. Okay, it's bigger than the nib on the Kaweco, but it's not a big nib. But then we go to the Centennial do-fold, and yes, it is a big nib, kind of a number 6. So what about Kaweco to go from this, and this is very badly made, but this is what I could do with my Photoshop skills. Why don't Kaweco go from this size to this size? And you can see they are aligned, they are not much. This one is not much bigger, but it could have a thicker body, a thicker cap, just slightly longer. It could have the same size of the section. Also on the Parkers they have the same size, but on the Centennial is larger. So they could have it not larger, thicker. They could have a thicker section, and they could have the same beautiful number 6 nib that you will find on the Kaweco Supra, for example. So I would say, why don't Kaweco goes up from the Kaweco Dia into the Kaweco Dia, this is the Dia 2, to Kaweco Dia 2L, for example, like large. And they could have a larger nib and a slightly larger pens. There are people that like small pens or thinner pens. There's no problem with that. But there is currently a trend of people wanting very big nibs. Most vintage nibs were small, except there were some big, but most of them were small in today's standards. But there are people that love big nibs. This would be an opportunity to create a bigger pen. So, of all of these ideas, I think this could be the most difficult one to introduce, because they would need to create the same kind of pen but to change the proportions to have it bigger. So this could be a little bit more tricky. But about reviving the look sport in other colors, I don't find it a problem. Making the red stone washed, I don't see any problem about it also. They could have the titanium version of a metallic sport, or they could have the copper version. That one would be crazy and really beautiful to have a copper pen, very heavy. And I think that it would be some ideas. Maybe there are some technological challenges to turn a pen from those materials, but this one, the stone-washed red, is not difficult at all, because you have the red and you have the machinery to make the red stone-washed. I hope you still have all the machinery to make this pen, so you just need to change the color of the resin. About these ones, look at them. I can understand that a bright red doesn't fit here, because it already has a orange and pink. Maybe red would be too solid for this collection. But the purple, please think about it. And I think this would be the easiest one, or one of the easiest. And then the Lilliput. Make a Lilliput of plastic. You have the mold, you have everything. I imagine that working on plastic is not the same thing as working on metal, but think about this idea. I think this is a good opportunity, and I guess if the comments on these kind of videos may take us in some direction, and if Kaweco takes a look at them, they may get some ideas, I hope. And then the Dia 2, the hardest one to work out, but color combine these two and create a third size, and I think it would be a perfect range for Kaweco pens. So, all about Kaweco and all about imaginary pens that I created in my mind. I hope this is interesting for you, and at least for the Kaweco collectors. Next video I will change into something else. I'm not trying to talk only about Kaweco, but it's hard because I have a lot of them and I really love the brand. And please let me know in the comments, let me know what you think. And this is a way that we can show the brand what we think about the pens they have and what they could do with their pens. Maybe we can go through and have Kaweco to make some different stuff that we like. So, I will shut up now, and we will see again. I will see you again. Actually, you will see me again next video. Bye.